Hi, friends! Join us as we dive into the themes, metaphors, and foreshadowing of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. We are your hosts, Leah,
Sarah, Tabby,
and whether you're a new viewer or a longtime fan, welcome to Becoming Buffy. Hi, guys, and welcome back to our third bonus episode of our Twilight saga. We are on the Eclipse now. So what did you guys overall, what is your thoughts about the movie?
Do you want to go first, Sarah, since you have more opinions than I do?
No, go ahead. You go ahead. I'm still getting my thoughts in order.
Whoever's listening, if you remember Catherine, our sister-in-law, I told her, I was like, well, you can watch the episode or the movies with me. And she was so excited because she wanted to see my response to it. And like, I feel like I knew a lot of the stuff or most of what was happening in the first two movies. And then there were, I think, like 3 times. And when we get to them, I'll tell you, I genuinely was like, I gasped. I was like, there's no way. Because there were a couple times where they would kind of lead up to something, and in my head I was like, this would be really funny if they did that, and then they actually did it, and I was like shell shocked that they actually went there. So I was kind of like telling the girls before we started recording that I was equal parts like annoyed / confused and shell shocked with some of the choices, but I was also like the other parts of the movie had a lot more moving pieces going through, and I found it really entertaining. Like this one I actually enjoyed way more than, especially the last one, but I liked it more than the first one too.
Yeah, I sometimes struggle with, have I seen this movie before, or just was I like in the prime age when this was going on, and so like I just basically know everything because of how many conversations were happening around me, how many articles are being written, all that other stuff,
and clips you've probably seen.
Yeah, and clips that I've seen. So nothing in this movie was a shock to me, simply because I pretty much knew about it all. Like I knew something was like some of this stuff was going to come up soon because I knew it was like in the movies. What I will agree with you, Tabs, though, is that I think one, the quality of the movie jumped significantly, even more from the last one.
Cool. I like the tone that they had immediately. I was like, oh, I like this tone more.
The beginning was very compelling. I thought that was really cool. It was always fun to see Bryce Dallas Howard. I didn't expect to see her as the vampire. Yeah, that was kind of cool. I also, like halfway through the movie, it kind of clicked thematically what they were going for, and I wasn't mad about it. I wrestle obviously with Bella's choices, and I think that she's a pick-me, and she the choices that she makes in this movie are very obviously just to stir up drama, but there's also a deeper reason for it to show this is the movie that she really has to kind of wrestle with. Is this a choice that she wants to go with? Because she's kind of starting to second guess that, and the poll with Jacob and Edward is not just a which guy do I find hottest and most drawn to. It's literally a symbol of which life do I want. And so I appreciated halfway through, I kind of figured that out, and it made it not so irritating to watch her kind of vacillate, because I was like, she really is drawn to both of these lives, and there are symbols for that. So, okay, I can get behind a motif or whatever. So I appreciated that. But gosh, I can't stand Bella, guys. And it's really hard to watch her everyone around her being so patient with her and letting her make her decisions, but also being so toxic to the people around her too. And it was frustrating to hear all of the men saying what Bella really wants and what Bella was really feeling.
And trust me, I have so many feelings about some of those scenes.
And Bella, like, it often felt like the guys already kind of knew what she wanted beforehand, and because of it, they're just waiting around for her to figure it out.
And or then trying to gaslight her into like telling her what she really wants when she really doesn't want that.
But then the movie goes and shows that they're correct in that. So that makes it even more irritating. So I don't know. I struggle with that. My feminist heart just like wants to die a little bit. I'm trying to just watch it for pleasure, but man, guys, some parts of this, I was like, I'm only halfway done with the movie.
The way I feel like I remember someone telling me when I first started watching these movies, and what they told me is like, each movie you get progressively more Team Edward and less Team Bella. Like Each movie progresses and you're like, wow, Edward, like that was a rational choice. That was a calm, level-headed thing.
Well, you
and
are
like,
an adult.
Like, are you okay? Like, what's going on with your thinking? Like, oh, it's so funny.
As we go through, I was telling Catherine too, as we were going through it, there were several times when I looked at her and I was like, it is so obvious that a Mormon girl wrote this book.
Yeah,
like genuinely, blaringly obvious in ways that is so toxic. And I was like floored. I was like, there's no way this was greenlit. Like the storyline that's happening is so conservative, religious.
This movie is this one's probably the most rampant with it.
Yes, out of all the other ones, like there were snippets here and there, but like this movie was like it was showered with those moments where I was like, oh my word, I can't believe this is the conversation they're having.
Right. This makes me really interested to see the remakes that they're going to do, because I don't know that a movie like this could be made.
That's what I said too. Day and age. I was like, this is such a capsule. Like they can't redo this.
Yeah, and
but also it's like the whole idea of a triangle nowadays has to be executed a lot better than it used to.
Yeah.
Like back then, all you had to do was two hot guys having kind of like a miscommunication thing and then like a girl put in the middle. Whereas now people kind of get bored with that. I get bored with that. I hate miscommunication tropes. I hate love triangles. Some that I think executed well was like Hunger Games, because it was life and death. She was put in a situation where she had to fake it with PETA. She was separated from Gale, and then it was like her feelings genuinely changed, and also F Gale. But
he also was with childhood friends, so she was torn.
Yeah, but that was different because it was like, you know, you can't replicate the Hunger Games. Like, so a lot of times love triangles just come off as very young, childish, and just stupid, because more often than not, you end up just getting frustrated with the main character, and you're like, just pick one, like, or neither. Like, and so it's just kind of hard to execute well.
Love triangles only service the audience. They do not service the characters. And what ends up happening, like you said, Leah, you start to hate especially the female main character, and often it's at the expense of causing the story to go on longer. And that's not good writing, and that's not a good story, because you need to make your characters' actions understandable. And if they are not, then you lose sympathy for them, and it's not compelling to watch.
Well, it did a disservice to the growth of all three characters in this movie. I feel like we are in the exact same spot that we were two movies ago when it came to all three. Like, arguably, you could say Edward is a little bit changed.
I think Edward has grown.
Yes. But, like, Bella is arguably, like, less mature, and Jacob is, like, the exact same.
I'm still Team Jacob.
What?
I know. You guys are all going to hate me. Yes, I'm still Team Jacob.
After this movie?
After this movie,
Sarah.
yes. Still Team Jacob. But I understand. I actually have so much more respect for Edward. 100%. But I know you guys. I
Jacob
know all
is Sarah. That's so embarrassing, bro.
I don't know. I would choose Jacob over Edward in a heartbeat.
You would choose. Oh my god. It's
Jacob
not even about
like younger puppy love crush.
It's
and the way
not
he hugs
even
her
about like the actors or their looks or anything. But it's like, even if you boil it down to like the differences of being a vampire and like a wolf, which it's like being a werewolf isn't even that bad, but like these movies specifically make being a werewolf so unappealing. Like, you get a weird temper, the weird pack, like mind control lock thing is so awful. Could you imagine every time you're talking to your boyfriend or something?
I get it.
And everything he's thinking, everyone can hear.
Knows. Yes, no, I agree. I'm not looking at any of that stuff. I'm looking at the individual, not the things surrounding them. I would, honestly, I'm team neither. I'm still Team Charlie. He got even better and better in this movie.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Yes.
I'm Team Jasper.
Jasper was a lot hotter in this movie.
I told you
he's also racist.
Okay, yes, I'll talk about that later. I'll talk about it later,
Why is every man problematic in this movie
except for Charlie.
Yes.
And Carlisle. Yeah, all the dads.
There was like precious little of Carlisle. I was a little disappointed. I wanted to see
okay, we need to get started. There's a long
zero
movie.
lines.
Yeah,
okay, go ahead.
She's not really a main character. She's very much like a side character. This is the most she's talked the whole series. was when she like talked and defended that one girl.
She talked more in the first one.
Yeah, because she talked about the dinner and all that stuff. Anyway, okay, go ahead.
So we start off in the street. I love the opening scene. I feel like they're just upping the game each time. It's very mysterious, kind of leaves on a cliffhanger. You know, there's this random guy.
He walks out and I was like, oh, he looks like a victim. I was like, I've seen Buffy and Angel. He's going down an alleyway. And then his name was Riley. And I was like, it's Riley.
I know. I was like, of course.
And he's blonde. And his girlfriend doesn't like him.
And his girlfriend's more powerful than him. She's calling the shots. She secretly isn't really in love with him and loves someone else who was previously a vampire.
Yep.
Oh man,
a lot of parallels. But they had a lot of romantic scenes with I was about to say Buffy and Angel with Edward and Bella. But this scene made me a little uncomfortable. I think it was mainly just like they don't really give a reason for why Edward is pushing so hard for marriage. They keep giving the excuse of like, oh, I'm traditional. I'm like, but you've been in this century as long as Bella has. Like you're
telling me
learned.
you've never banged someone?
Yeah, it's like, come on, dude. Like,
again, this is one of those situations that I looked at Catherine and I was like, this is only a Mormon writer. Like, this doesn't make sense for the movie or the lore or anything.
It's a plot device.
It also just comes off as weird because it's like, you know, getting married so young is one of the most like human permanent things you can do. Like, yeah, you can get a divorce and all that, but it's a pretty permanent decision. Like you'll always have it on there that you were married and divorced, like have to go through paperwork, legal separation, all of that. And so it's like, that's a pretty permanent human decision that he's forcing on her, yet he thinks that she shouldn't make a permanent decision to become a vampire. Like, I'm not saying that being married is the equivalent of being a vampire, but it's just like, it just comes off as very pushy.
This is a common trope in a lot of vampire, supernatural, fantasy, you know, whatevers, is to have the marriage trope be like the next thing. But it always comes off as very shallow because I think we talked about this in the last movie. You're already going to spend the rest of your lives together. You've already been through so many life and death situations. In comparison, marriage feels like, and that's not to say, I think marriage is a big deal and it is serious, but compared to all these other things, it feels like
in this world,
like it's not necessary after all the other stuff that you're talking about.
That's what I'm saying is like Edward being like, we need to get married before you become a vampire is like,
and
so
be
like
with each other for eternity.
It's like, okay, like I guess like, and that's kind of the vibe that Bella gives me, where she's like, it's just a piece of paper, Edward. Like we're gonna be tied souls forever, and I would rather not be married because then it's very public to everyone. And she's like, that's kind of like, you know, people at my age are gonna think I'm pregnant, which honestly would be me. I'd be like, I don't want to get married. People are gonna think I'm pregnant. Like,
yeah.
It's
also then her parents have to be actively involved in her relationship with Edward versus if she's just like, hey, I'm going to be gone for a while. I'm going to be going to university, all this stuff. Like, I don't know. It's a lot more public. So yeah, I agree. It's odd.
And then we get Charlie, which honestly, Charlie was such a vibe this whole movie, as always. But just like, honestly, his motivations they made so much sense because he just was like, dude, like, ever since this guy came into your life, like, you've been gone, you've acted up.
Charlie
like,
was making a lot of sense, let me tell you.
Yes. And he wasn't rude about it. Like, he wasn't like, you know, he just was putting healthy boundaries on her but still, like, respecting the fact that she's getting older and can make her own decisions and stuff. I love the relationship dynamic that they have with Charlie and her. I think it's one of the best relationships written in all of the movies.
If Charlie was not giving some pushback on her relationship with Edward. I think that would be strange given all of the stuff that's happened the past 2 movies, and what he's kind of just observed. Like, he's seeing some red flags. And I mean, his daughter was like up screaming all night for like weeks on end. That's codependent, not healthy.
Then we find out that Bella has been trying to get a hold of Jacob. And then it like cuts to her trying to go to the reserve, right? Or do they go to school
She goes
first?
in the car. She goes in the car
She goes
and the
in the
car's
car,
dead. See,
and
this
Edward
is
is right
problematic,
there.
Edward. This is problematic.
Oh yeah, didn't he like break her car or something so she wouldn't go?
Andrew pointed out that Charlie's giving Bella more freedom than Edward.
Dude, I said the same thing about like Edward. I told Catherine, I was like, are you being for real? Like, he's literally stopping her from doing anything. That's so annoying.
Then we see her friends for the first and pretty much only time in the movie besides graduation.
What is the point of her having friends, guys?
I just keep forgetting that she's even in high school still. Like, which I'm glad that she's finally graduating, because it's like at this point it's like
what is the point of her even being in high school?
You're not going to classes. Like,
although, okay, I gotta say, Jessica's speech was actually pretty good.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, this is a good graduation speech. Like, I think it's well done. And that was, I think, personally, the best scene of the movie.
Then we find out that Alice has been having visions, and Edward isn't really giving Bella the specifics, but that there's just something bad happening. And then Edward randomly brings up the fact that Bella has like tickets. He's like, oh yeah, you have tickets out of town that are going to expire. I'm like,
This is a problem with all 3 movies, and I think this has to do with Stephenie Meyer's writing. There's not very good transitions between scenes and the next plot point. It's literally just plot point, plot point, plot point. Like, they're just trying to get from A to B. And so then we'll just be like, hey, she's going to Florida. So then next scene, we're like, oh, I guess she's in Florida now. Like, we talked about that in the past 2 movies, where it was like, oh, how'd she get to Oregon so fast? How'd she get to Arizona? Like, she went to the freaking, what was it, Paris or wherever, Spain. She went to Spain.
I also didn't understand why they kept mentioning that this was her goodbye to her mom. You still have a good 15 years, but like, where you could lie and just say, oh, I just aged, like, I just don't really age, where you could still see your mom. Like,
yeah, if they can't tell that Edward is a vampire, they're not going to be able to tell that you're a vampire.
Well,
you know?
And it's like, if it's a cloudy day, she can go out in public, apparently. So it's like, she's not really saying goodbye to a lot. Like, I know that the movie tries to convince us of that, but I'm like, Edward was able to fly all the way to Florida. He just had to stay in the house. So, like, isn't it the same for Bella?
The only thing that they're trying to do is, with the parallels to the newborns, as they like to call them in this movie, which made me severely uncomfortable every time, with the newly turned vampires, showing how like bloodlust thirsty they are and all that stuff. I think they're trying to show that like it's going to be a while before she can actually be around humans and stuff because of that. But then it shows like the Cullens are able to get over it and they're fine now. So like, they needed to raise the stakes when it came to becoming a vampire to show us that this is actually a big decision, because sparkling in the sunlight doesn't feel like that big of a risk and a cost.
Which I agree with, but I feel like this movie did the best job of showing the negatives of being a vampire.
Sure.
And I feel like the main person who did that was Rosalie in her speech.
Yeah.
And kind of showing
agree.
like,
you're right.
And I mean, we'll get there, but at least at this point in the movie, I just kind of was like, this is really dramatic. Like,
but it took us 3 movies to finally get to the cons of being a vampire.
Right.
And when they've used Rosalie and Jasper and all that to show like how sexy and how cool vampires are and all the stuff that they can do. And it's like, well, you should have been showing me up until now how awful it was. Because if I was Bella, I'd be over there like, wow, being a vampire seems like a pretty sweet deal.
Yeah, I don't age. I don't die. I'm super fast. Like, And I glisten in the sun. Like,
yeah, who doesn't want to glisten?
Where is the downside?
Yeah, seriously.
We finally see Victoria. She's back. I will say I love that they brought her back and that she was like the main villain for this movie. I feel like they gave her spotlight. I liked that they've been kind of building her up. I will say that's one thing I like about these movies is that I feel like the villains they start to build on each other, and
Yeah.
I feel like each movie you can kind of sense where the next movie is going. And I really like that. It feels more cohesive.
Like, I want more Valtteri or whatever, and I know we'll get them more the next 2 movies, but I'm, like, desperate for them.
Yeah, well, and you're starting to see, like, that kind of not contrast, but, like,
the conflicts that are happening.
The conflict, yes. I knew it was another C word. But, like, I think it's kind of silly how it's, like, the one vampire is chasing her in the woods, and then he barely crosses the line, and then the wolf chases that one instead of the one that is actually running. I'm like, okay, I get it. You have a treaty, but it also, like, there are bigger problems right now. Like, maybe we can work past it a bit.
Okay, this next scene in the school parking lot when we see Jacob for the first time, this movie was killing me with his like tight black t-shirt, grease-stained jeans, and then his like the way his hair kind of came over.
And I leaned flash over to him where it's like they're walking out of the car and it flashes to him and he's standing there and you're like,
guitar riff that happens right there. I leaned over to Andrew and I said, I'm going to put some dirt in your eye because that's what it looked like with this.
He's just so dramatic. Like,
his hair was chronically wet the entire movie, too. I have to point that out.
Yeah.
It's because he's sweaty. He's a dog.
He has so much body heat, Leah.
Yeah, no. How was he not profusely sweating all the time then? Like, if he was actually that hot all the time, he would actually just be leaving puddles of sweat.
Imagine, like, the reason why that Bella doesn't like him is because he smells, because he's sweating all the time. That'd be so funny.
Ew. Oh, my God. I cannot believe you're Team Jacob, Sarah. That's all I can think about.
Well, you know what? What can I say? I think I like
overshadowed by the attractiveness of him.
I'm so confused about this scene because it goes from them just talking and then Bella being like, hey, I have something I need to say to you. And then she just gets on his motorcycle.
Yeah, I know, right?
I was like, wait, I literally rewinded because I thought I missed a piece of dialogue where like he was like, hey, hop on or
right. Well, because I was thinking that Edward was overreacting the entire like scene because I was like, oh, come on. She just wants to talk to him for a minute. And the next minute she's copping onto his bike and he's like, Jacob's over there like smirking and making it worse to Edward. And I was like, no, Edward is definitely not overreacting now.
Well, but not to mention it's like, what kind of girlfriend are you where you can clearly tell that this person bothers your boyfriend? Well, soon to be fiance, but it's like this person clearly bothers them for a valid reason. He has admitted that he's in love with you, attracted to you, and all this stuff. And you literally get on there and he's smirking at your boyfriend, like being smug, and you're just like, knock it off. Like, girl, get off of there and be like, I'm going to be kind to my boyfriend who's clearly upset for a valid reason. Like,
your partner's not comfortable with this. Why are you? It's not just that she's entertaining this. She's actively encouraging it is what's happening.
But then is acting like she's not. She's like, it's just a ride, Jacob.
Gosh,
it's
she's
like,
the worst.
Why can't you talk about whatever you're going to talk about right here? Like, I don't get it.
Yeah. Well, I loved when Jacob says, hold on tight. And Andrew and I just added spider monkey in the back of our minds.
It never leaves. It's always there.
This is Jacob's spider monkey moment. Oh, yeah. And they go to the pack. The pack, just a bunch of shirtless guys that can all read each other's minds.
So embarrassing.
It's so awkward. Like,
they act like hyenas really each other, too.
I feel like even the writer was like, anti-Jacob because it's not even about being Team Edward. It's about being anti-Jacob because they really just give him these things that make him so unappealing. Like, why would you give him connected mind control with a 15-year-old?
That's just a vampire or a werewolf thing. Okay,
but that's not though. It's not.
No, it is a werewolf thing.
I've never seen that in any other vampire or werewolf lore.
Well, it's like all over werewolf stuff, all over it.
I've never seen that. That's weird. Like, I know the sensing thing where it's kind of like you can sense if they're there and if they're in trouble, but like reading their mind.
Well, how it normally is in werewolf fan fiction, other things like that, is it's not that they're open connection all the time. You can cut people in and out. So it's not supposed to be like they can hear all your thoughts. I don't know why they have that like this in here, only to like make people make fun of Jacob. But yeah, it's a little weird that they just have them all able to hear their thoughts constantly because that's not That's weird. The script infers that Leah likes Jacob and that
I feel like the movie kind of gives a little bit of that vibe too, because you can tell she has an anger towards Bella specifically. Yeah. And then Jacob brings Bella into this like clan meeting, which I don't even know why she's not invited. A clan meeting. What in the world? Was like, I was so confused. I was like, why was Bella allowed to be there? Like,
she's gonna become a vampire soon.
Yes, and also like she's not even like a girlfriend or a wife or anything. Like she's just Jacob's crush. That's it.
Why is it a clan meeting to sit around and tell stories versus like, hey, we have business we're going to actually talk about, like, I don't know. Also,
talking about a history that they all already know.
Also, their history was stupid. I'm sorry. But the fact that like in order to save everyone, she stabs herself when all she had to do was just like cut her hand.
Dude, I know, which is so funny because that's what Bella does later on in the movie.
Yes, and I think that was supposed to be the point. That's what gave Bella the idea. Mm-hmm. But like, and also, why was it the guy's third wife? Why did they just say wife?
The other ones probably died, Sarah. They probably stabbed themselves too.
That she's a slut, that she had it coming.
Right. Like so many weird details. I was like, okay. This is when Andrew got up and left the movie. He was like, I can't, guys. I can't.
I love how Charlie's demeanor completely changes when he's like, well, you could have at least come for dinner. And she's like, I was out with Jake. And he's like, oh, okay. Tell him I say hi. Like, he's like completely, he's like, okay, like, never mind.
Yeah, he's totally trying to set them up.
And then Edward comes rightfully and justly concerned because he can't, like, check up on her or anything. And then
she didn't call and say, hey, our quick conversation that we were going to have is decided to last until like 9 o'clock at night.
Hey, the clan is just having a quick meeting about their history. I'm just gonna pop in. That's okay.
We're gonna sit here and bash vampires the entire time, but don't worry, I'll come back.
Yeah, I don't know why you're stressing. We're just hanging out with Jacob, my good friend.
Yeah, my good friend.
And then we find out, surprise, surprise, that Charlie is in trouble yet again. Every movie, he is a liability at this point. Like, at this point, just tell him, because this man is a major plot point for being in trouble every single movie. Like, at this point, have a move or something. Like, there has to be some easier solution.
He's had no clue so far how much his life has been in peril and how much they've had to save his life, supposedly.
I will say, though, the efforts to have both Jacob and Edward in this movie was a lot more seamless. Like, I felt like it actually made sense to have Jacob protect Bella in this movie.
Yeah, this seemed like it was a lot more like there was a real reason. It made more logical
sense. Like, I felt like they...
And for bringing both of them together, the wolves and the vampires, I was like, okay, this makes sense.
I mean, I kind of agree, but I also... why they've never talked about the Cullens needing to feed so much. It just didn't, like, because the Cullens have been also tracking Victoria in the past 2 movies, and there's been also all this other stuff where they've had no problem watching Bella and her dad and also being able to go feed. So them suddenly being like, okay, we can't keep ourselves fed while also doing all those things. When they did those same things the past 2 movies, it just felt like very contrived. So Bella, looks like the sweet, fawning girlfriend, the sweet peacemaker, the girl that gets the 2 guys to get along, while Edward and Jacob look like the complete irrational ones when she's the one sending mixed signals, and she's the whole reason they are, like, obviously on alert. Like, Edward is going to be frustrated,
Well, and I love the scene when, like, they're coming for, like, their first like day of supervision, and, like, Edward just turns to Bella and he's like, does this guy own a shirt? Like, why is he always just shirtless and, like, barefoot? Like, we get it, you're wolf. Like, please put on a shirt now. Because if Leah can wear a shirt, then all of you can be wearing shirts.
Yeah, feminism.
Nice. Feminism. Very nice. Everyone put on a shirt. If Leah can't go shirtless, everyone put on a shirt.
That's hilarious. Yeah, the third wife or whatever her name is could be fully clothed. You can be fully
like
clothed.
That whole scene where like Edward gives Bella to Jacob and Jacob's like, hey, beautiful. And she's like, hey.
Right after
she's not even like hi or like Maybe don't say
she's
that.
Like eating it up,
She's
and
like,
Edward back there is like fuming.
Edward's just standing there by the car like, okay.
No wonder he wasn't phased by the time that they kissed. He was like, yeah, I saw this coming
This
a
was
mile
about
away.
to come.
Dude, I can read his thoughts. I know what he's thinking about the whole time.
Yeah.
So then we see on the news that there are more missing people and murders in Seattle, right? I think it's Seattle.
Yep, Seattle Forks.
And now they're getting concerned that the Volturi will become aware. And so they're wondering if they should handle it.
And they're also realizing that someone's creating an army of vampires because of all the newborns and stuff.
Yeah, and I will say all the scenes where they switch back to Riley and stuff were really interesting.
I agree.
They kind of gave me the willies a little bit because I'm like, with blood. But like, it was really interesting seeing like kind of the chaos that would ensue. Because in my mind, this is always what I would picture if vampires were actually real. Like, they wouldn't be sneaky. They wouldn't be like, it would just be like, well, if we turn everyone, then we'll just overpower people. It's kind of like my thought process when going into like a murdering game. I'm like, well, if I kill everyone really fast, then no one will be able to catch me, type of thing. Like, that's how I've always viewed vampires. And it was cool to see the contrast between like newer vampires that were just like power hungry and like, let's just turn a bunch of people. And then the older ones who have like kind of been experienced and were like, oh, this is going to be bad for us. Well, Anna, it was cool seeing him turn the younger girl. And I like how they brought her back.
Yeah.
It was cool to see how it was like, there wasn't really a remorse or choice. It was just like,
and the contrast with Carlisle trying to save her at the end. I liked that.
And then we have the sex talk between Charlie and Bella, right? Is that the next one? Oh no, they just had that conversation about Riley. Oh no, then we have that conversation between Bella and Edward about like what actually would happen. Like, you could tell Bella's thinking about it like more seriously for the first time and realizing, oh, that means I won't be home for Christmases. I'm gonna have to figure all this out. And this at first seemed kind of like harsh, but I appreciated Edward's candor in this moment where he was like, after a few decades, everyone you know will be dead. Problem solved. Like, it sounds really abrupt, but like, that's the cold hard truth. And Bella needs to like be thinking through all of this stuff, honestly.
Well, and then we have that whole scene of like, she's starting to be concerned that when she does become a vampire, that like she'll lose herself. And so she's wanting to like do more with him because she wants to do more with him while she feels like herself.
Yeah.
And he's like putting the brakes on. We have yet to get the I prefer, sex and marriage talk from holy religious, Edward.
Yeah. For real.
Oh, and then we have this scene. This is the scene that I'm shocked that you're still team.
No, I was not
Jacob
okay with
this.
I was obviously not okay with it, but like, to say that Jacob's actions are any worse than Edward's have been, like, they're both equally awful. So we're picking out like two guys here that have done awful. Okay, Edward disabling her car and being like, no, sorry, I'm not going to let you go anywhere, and like being uber controlling.
But that's not the same as Jacob literally telling her like, I know you have something for me. You're not telling me. And then kissing her. And she's obviously trying to pull back and still goes in. Then she has to pull back and punches him. Like, she's made it so like Edward has crossed boundaries, but that is like a whole level that Edward never even touched.
Also, like, Edward is all for Bella still being a human and is tried to step out many times.
Yeah, I don't know. I see them both as equally not as great, but I agree with you. I think Jacob definitely crossed a line here. He should not have done that. But as stupid as it is, I don't like that Jacob is telling Bella how she feels, because that's not okay at all. But it's stupid that the movie validates and verifies that what Jacob is saying is true.
I agree, because I feel like our knowledge up until this point is genuinely that Bella has like a tiny crush on him.
Yeah,
but he's being
near.
Like, I know you're in love with me. I know you have this big thing for me.
Which
honestly,
the movie
I feel like
tells me that, but I don't see it.
I see it towards the end a bit, but even then it's not, I don't see it as love. I see it as like, not lust, but more of like, like an attraction
Pity.
or like an interest, but not like a love. Like her and Edward are in love, but like
it's
her and Jacob, I wouldn't say they're in love.
Because Bella is also wrestling with what it means to become a vampire and whether or not she wants to become a human and what she would be losing by becoming a vampire. I see her attraction to Jacob and her kind of going down that road a little bit in this movie as more her fear of becoming a vampire. And she's kind of trying on Jacob to see, if I don't choose Edward, I have Jacob as a backup. Okay, like I'm already thinking about staying human. So if I do, then I would be with Jacob and not Edward. So let's just try and see how that goes. And it's like, that also goes against what Bella has told Edward too, because it's not as if she decides that she's not going to become a vampire. Her and Edward are going to break up. They're going to stay together, right? But she's making it seem as if she chooses not to be a vampire, then her and Edward like are done completely.
I feel like in her mind, that's the line that she's drawing. Is like, if I don't become a vampire, I can't be with Jacob or Edward because eventually I'll die. I feel like honestly what makes this scene even worse is when they go back to her house and Edward is justifiably upset because he can read his mind and he knows that Bella's hurt and rushes over there.
Yeah.
But what makes it worse is when her dad comes out and they're arguing and then he goes, Bella doesn't even know what she wants, but like still trying to justify like what he did. Her hand's broken. She's like, I didn't want to kiss you. And then like Edward gets really mad and is like, how could you do that to her? Like she told you she didn't want to kiss you. And then Jacob goes, well, she doesn't know what she wants. And then he said,
she doesn't though. He's right.
She knew she didn't want him to kiss her in that moment.
Yeah.
No, I agree that part. I agree that part was icky, 100%. But I'm frustrated that the movie again validates the men, Jacob, not Bella.
It's yes, her even if she was so in love with Jacob, in that moment, it was very obvious she didn't want to kiss Jacob. Like,
no, I agree.
Her body language and all of that, like she's pulling away. She told him she wasn't interested, like all that stuff. So it's like, even still, like that just scene is just like, oh, and then the fact that he was like, well, she doesn't even know what she wants. And then Edward has that good line where he's like, well, you could try asking her. Like, period, Edward. Yes, you could. So then Jacob gets all mad, little boy, and Bella tells him to go home, and he leaves. Thank the Lord. Carlisle comes over, which this must have been so awkward. Carlisle's like checking her hand, and then they find out that Victoria is in Seattle with possibly the intruder, and so now they're trying to decide if they should go to Seattle.
And then we have Rosalie's backstory right here, because Rosalie is not happy about the fact that everyone is protecting Bella, and Bella keeps making jokes about like becoming a newborn when Rosalie's like, you have a choice and I didn't.
Yeah, and I feel like this is honestly one of the most interesting parts to me. I mean, I love a backstory. Really I love that we got Jasper's backstory and hers in this movie. I felt like it felt more full and it gave so much more depth to her, and it's like her whole backstory just gives me like chills. Like every time I watch it, I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yes, everything that we've learned about like the side characters is like, man, I wish we like knew this beforehand. Are some of the details unnecessary? Why do we need to make him a Confederate like soldier? Yeah. That was so unnecessary. I'm like, we could have had the same plot points, have the same growth in him, have the same storyline if we just changed to anything else.
I feel like the way that I see it, because I mean, I 100% agree with you. It's like literally why. And the fact that they mention it like multiple times and he was a captain, I'm like,
yes.
That's
and he brings out a southern accent again as if it's supposed to be sexy. I'm like, ugh.
But the way that I see it is that Jasper as a human and his first few years of being a vampire, he wasn't necessarily on the right side. Like I feel like that's the tone I'm hoping we're trying to go for, because it was like he mentions being in the Confederate like army, and then it goes straight to him being like the military or the second in command for the vampire lady, and he's like murdering these innocent people and like just doing awful things. And so in my mind, I see it as before Jasper met Alice, he just wasn't a good person in general.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's how I excuse it in my mind, is like he was murdering people, he was racist, he was awful, and chose to change his ways. Like, so that's the only reason I can kind of put it off in my mind. I think it would be different if they were like, you know, oh, he became a vampire and then he served in the war. Like, that was his accomplishment. Like, they lumped it in there with murdering and all of that. So I feel like I try and see it as all of it was bad. But I love the whole drama of Rosalie, like, hunting him down. It gave me the same vibe as The Mummy when he's, like, hunting all of them down. Yes. And it's the very last one in his room, and she comes in her wedding dress. Oh.
I was watching that. I was like, as cool as the storyline is, it's also given me, like, the author has a misconstrued idea of, like, sex, and then, like, use it again kind of like in this scenario where, like, she was, like, raped by multiple people, and it's like cool and girl bossy as it is, and I love seeing her, like, going and hunting them each down individually and, like, killing them. I just was like, the only times we see sex in this universe is like, I can't have sex with you until we're married, and we're so like there's so much here, but, like, we want to protect it in marriage and all that sort of stuff. And then it's like the only other time is, like, Rosalie, who gets, like, raped by a bunch of people, you know?
I wouldn't go so far as that, because it's not necessarily like Edward and Bella are being like, we can't have sex till marriage. It's more of like Edward is framing it as like, I'm traditional, and I want to have sex when we're married type of thing. It's not like he's slut shaming her or anything that.
No. I didn't say it like that. I'm just saying that, like, I can just very much tell who the author is.
Yeah. But I love Rosalie's backstory. I think it's so cool. And I love the conversation she has with Bella after that, because Bella's talking about how she's like, you know, I totally understand why you didn't want to be a vampire. Like, your backstory and all that. She's like, but for me, like, there's nothing I want more in this world than Edward and to be with him. And Rosalie has that quick, like, comeback of, like, there's something you'll want more, and that's blood. You'll crave it all the time. And this was the first time where I was like, thank you. Yes. Like, one downside, an unquenchable thirst for human blood. Like, that is a big con.
Yeah. Rosalie's and Jasper's backstories serve to highlight Bella's desire to be a vampire, showing how short-sighted it is, and how they're kind of poking holes in her desire, being like, is this what you really want? All you want is Edward right now. But look at these vampires that have lived for hundreds of years. They want so much more in life, and their lives, they're older now. They're more mature. They're able to see things, and they wish they had that choice first and foremost. But they also recognize that as you get older, you're going to want more than just that one person. And are you willing to give that up? And I really appreciated how just adding their backstories and having, like, this conversation gave so much more depth to the movie than it was previously. And I felt like the movie was actually taking some of the criticisms of being a vampire seriously, which adds weight to Bella's decision and choice. And I appreciate that, because it's Twilight, but I was like, okay, I need a little bit more meat, and this gave me a little bit something more to work with.
I agree. And then it was like, then the next scene having her graduation and the speech, which fully was trying to, like, show, like, this is the time, you're young, like, make mistakes, learn, because you get to evolve and change. Like, first of all, amazing speech. I'm like,
right.
I'll be living off that till the day I die. But it's also just, like, so applicable. And you can tell that that speech is supposed to hit Bella in a way of being like, oh my gosh, like, if I make this ultimate decision right now, I'm shutting myself off from ultimately being able to make mistakes.
Yeah. Oh, then we have the Volturi watching Riley and all that stuff, and they made the decision to step in.
So here's the part of it that I get confused about, because I didn't read the book. So I don't know if this was kind of described better in the books. The way that I interpret this is that the Volturi ultimately have been watching Victoria and know what she's going to do and know that she's going to go after the Cullens, but ultimately think that that can serve them best. And so that's why they're letting it all happen. But some people think that it's more of the Volturi just now chose to get involved. But that doesn't really make sense.
Yeah.
But that doesn't really make sense because the girl specifically mentions that they went out to do this because Alice could read his thoughts. And so they're trying to like move in a way to where the Cullens can't notice. Yeah. So I kind of always viewed it as like they were fully aware of Victoria and everything she was doing with the army, but like wanted to see if it could serve. Because they also got there right after the fight.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess we'll have to wait to see what happens in the next couple of movies.
We have the party and then all of them have a meeting. Also, Jacob coming and then Bella clearly being like, I want to uninvite you. And then he's like, I'm going to go into this private meeting with everyone. They find out that she has an army, that they're on their way. And this was the first time where I was like, finally, everyone is thinking a little bit rationally. We're like, seriously? Jacob and Edward were all like, we just need bodies. We need people. Like, Edward even has that thing where he's like, I just need people to protect you. And Bella's like, no, Jacob. However she says it.
Jacob.
And then Jacob. Like the way she yelled it. Oh my gosh. I like this turn in the movie. Like once it starts being more towards like gearing up for the battle, like, oh, something about it like kind of hit me right in my, I don't know, not my heart, but spot. You know, my entertainment, like, my entertainment mind.
You're like, oh yeah, this is exactly what I want.
Jacob gives Bella the most ugly ass bracelet I've ever seen in my life.
They both felt like they were branding her, dude. I was telling that to Catherine. I was like, dang, they really are trying to like mark their way on her by giving her a bracelet with like a wolf. And then Edward gets insecure and then later gives her one with a heart charm on it. I'm like, my goodness.
Then we have this scene where they all meet in the woods and they're training. Jasper is giving them the freaking sexy lowdown of how to fight these people.
Lowdown.
I also love how we always see Carlisle fight, but the mom always stays home as if she's like not at the same level of power as Carlisle is.
I think she's here, but you don't really, there's no montage because they have like all the couples fighting against each other, but you don't see, what's her name, what is her name? Ella, Esme? I don't know. I don't remember her name. Is it Esme?
No, it's not Esme.
I was like, that's somebody else later on. It's, I was like, it's not Esme. I don't remember. But you don't see Carlisle and his wife. I don't even remember her name, fighting with each other, but you see, everybody else, all the other couples.
Yep. And then we get Jasper's backstory.
He was from Texas. All of a sudden his accent was like real apparent.
Texas. I'm like,
I was like, have you always had this accent, Jasper?
No.
All of a sudden. No, he hasn't.
I thought it was interesting that we got kind of a glimpse of like why Jasper is like kind of known as the fighter. Like he was a general. He knows how to control people. And then we get the whole idea of him like controlling people's emotions. Like it's, I'm a sucker for a backstory, even a racist one, I love some context.
I'll take it. I'm just kidding. definitely not taking some of them.
Oh yeah, Alice has the vision. We find out that, oh my gosh, Victoria is actually the puppet master behind all of this, which is hilarious because I know we've kind of seen behind the curtain. We know what's going on, but I don't know how they were not like, yes, this is definitely Victoria, putting two and two together because Bella seems great and all, but I doubt that like all these things would constantly be happening to her if it wasn't for the vendetta because of James and Victoria.
Well, but also they literally say, oh, they're throwing around Bella's scent, like her jacket. It's like,
why else would they be doing this?
How would they know? Like, you guys aren't how long have you been living? How many colleges have you gone to? How many diplomas do you have? Like, figure it out, please.
Bella's not that special, guys. Edward's like, what?
So then Edward and Bella decide that they're pretty much going to be hiding away while everyone else is doing the fighting, which it's like, yeah. So then they have this whole scene where they pretty much just keep calling Edward Stinky. And Jacob goes with him.
Jacob, not Edward.
Oh, frick, yeah. Jacob.
I was like, Edward doesn't smell. He glistens, remember?
He glistens.
Oh, yeah. And then Jacob has to carry her because of his scent.
Yeah, I was like, why can't they just walk?
I've seen so many behind the scenes from this movie alone, and I can only see the treadmill that he's like walking on. while holding her, or like when she like scratches his head and it's like actually Taylor Lautner
in a suit. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's just like, I see what you're doing, movie. Like, it feels like you're trying to lure us in with shirtless Taylor Lautner to get us to like be swayed from Team Edward.
Well, and then we have this whole like freaking scene where Jacob is like, "Don't worry, I won't kiss you until you ask me. I promise myself."
That was my first red flag. I was like, oh no, she's gonna kiss him.
But also, I'm like, that's literally the bare minimum. Like, why are you saying that? Like, ooh, goody for me. Like, I'm going to wait until you give me consent this time.
No, I think, I agree. But I also think that was kind of him being really cocky and being like, I know you're going to ask me for a kiss, or I know you're going to kiss me because I know your true feelings.
For sure.
You know? Which
is just annoying. It's like,
yeah, they keep putting them in these stupid sexy positions where you're just like, this is not even realistic. I can't wait till we get to the tent scene because I was like, where did we go? Antarctica? You're just up a mountain. Like, come on.
Why do you not have a jacket? Like, why did you not prepare for that?
It was not cold during that day. I was shell shocked. I was like, why is it a blizzard all of a sudden? And like her being, guys, that scene, are we there yet? Because I want to talk about it so bad.
Let's wait. You have a lot to say.
Well, then we have this whole scene where Alice gets along with Charlie and just tells them that they're going on a girls' trip so that she has an alibi.
I did write, Leah, for you. I was like, all right, I admit it, Leah. Jasper's a lot hotter when he takes charge, okay?
No, literally, I told you, Jasper gets hotter every single movie.
He still looks like Johnny Depp from Alice in Wonderland, the Mad Hatter.
For sure.
But,
he's still pale, and he still has that like kind of like ghostly, like scared look in his eye.
He doesn't blink the entire movie. I think he just stares.
And the way he talks is like, I can't even like mimic it, but it's very odd, but
he's an actor trying to act like he has a drawl.
It's just like, if you get it, you get it, you know?
Yeah.
If you see it, you see it.
Yeah.
But now we have the awkward sex talk with Charlie and Bella.
Okay, so from here on out, it was just, I felt like the movie was trying to edge everyone to be like, guys, this is it. This is the moment that Edward and Bella are going to have sex. We're building up to it. And then it turned into, no, because they even had the music when they're on the bed and you're thinking, wow, it's actually going to happen. And then it was like,
and they're like making out and she's like, can I take off my clothes? And he's like, no. And you're like, oh, where are we going then? Well, it's just like weird too, because it's like Bella rightfully is like, you told me to experience things. Like, I'm a teenage girl. Like, this is one of those things that I want to experience. And he immediately starts talking about like marriage.
Yeah.
And it's like, but just like a couple scenes ago, you were talking about how she's so young and like,
yeah,
it just doesn't track. Like,
well, and then the scene with her and Charlie where she's talking to him about like whether he still believes in marriage or not. I know what they were trying to do was trying to show that like Bella's thinking about like, do I want to, like, is accepting Edward's proposal worth, or no, sorry, let me say that again. Is me becoming a vampire worth accepting Edward's proposal? Like, if I want to become a vampire, I have to accept this proposal. But like, how it came across was she's sitting there going, if I marry Edward, I have to give up Jacob. And I kind of want both of them. So why don't I just not get married and then I can have both of them? That's what it came across as.
She wants to postpone the marriage so that she can have wiggle room.
Yes.
Between them.
That's what it felt like.
And then it's this weird thing because it's like Bella is trying to be physical with Jacob, and then it's like then he starts talking to her, and he does have this sweet like speech and all that. And then he
talking to her, and she's like, "No, be quiet." So
yeah, she's like, "No, I want to have sex." No, but then he like pulls out the most hideous ring I've ever seen in my life.
No, it is atrocious.
Which I know that ring is very polarizing because I know some people like that's their dream ring. Like they saw the scene and they were like, "Yeah, for real," because it's more antique looking, and some people like that. To me, no offense taken.
Though it's so big.
Yeah, no offense. You know, some people are gonna hate me. I think it's hideous.
Guys, that Edward is so extremely extra. The fact that he like goes out and buys her a whole 4-poster bed, mattress, and spread. Like, of course, he's gonna get her the biggest ring you've ever seen.
Well, no, he didn't get it to her. It was his mother's.
Oh, that makes sense.
That's what he said, because it's vintage. That's the whole point, is that it's supposed to be old.
Wait. I have a question. So when Edward was like dying of dysentery or whatever was influenza, he had his mother's ring in his pocket? And
No.
then like...
So he was dying at like 17. And then I bet you he got saved and then still was able to see his parents and stuff. And then eventually when his mom died,
okay, that makes
he was
more
able
sense.
to get her ring because he outlived his parents.
Yeah. Okay, that makes more sense. Okay, sure. We'll go with that one. That is
so then we see this conversation between Victoria and Riley where Victoria warns him and says the Cullens have powers,
she's
be aware.
The puppet master. She's like, dance for me, puppet, dance. And Riley's like, okay. And I was like, I mean, it is Bryce Dallas Howard, so. Then Bella's spreading her blood everywhere.
She's being thorough, guys.
And then we find out that it doesn't bother Edward anymore. We're like, since when?
Well, I think the whole point is that it's like, since he's already tasted her blood, he's able to control it a little bit better. But it's still a little weak. What I thought was ridiculous was when she chose not to wear her wedding ring. And then Edward was like, you're not wearing your ring. And she's like, I just didn't want to lose it. Like, I just didn't want to. I'm like, okay.
Bella is making trash Xander decisions right now. Mm-hmm. It's giving me Xander not wanting to tell everyone that he and Anya are engaged.
Mm-hmm. Yep, but it's not even that. It's not even that bad. Like, that's not even as bad as you specifically don't want one person to know that you're engaged because you have a crush on them. Like, yes, that's so scummy. And the fact that Edward knows it, like, he's like, you don't want him seeing it.
And then like, she just says, he has a lot going on right now. This is just so hard for him.
She's like, I want him to have a clear head for that. It's like, okay, girl. Like, no one cares. Like, maybe he'd have a clearer head if he went into this not fighting for a girl, but just fighting for his life. Like,
it's actually real convenient that Edward can't read Bella's mind right now because I don't know if he'd still be with her.
True. That's very convenient that he can't.
Yeah. Guys, this just gets messier and messier because now we have the storm.
Yeah.
I don't think anything could have prepared me for the first time I saw this scene.
Guys, okay, I have to say, so I don't know if, you guys probably don't watch him, but there's one of my favorite, like, goofy YouTubers is Mike's Mike, and he breaks down, like, movies, and he's just so freaking funny. And he does like, a series on the Twilight movies. And since, like, obviously our phones listen to us, I get like curated stuff based off of like what I'm watching on other things or what I'm talking about. So I'll see his thumbnails for like the Twilight ones. So for the one for Eclipse, it just says, since I'm hotter than you, or like I'm hotter than you. So I thought he was like trying to like beef up to Edward and like comparing himself by being like, I'm hotter than you, Bella should choose me. So I was assuming that. When I tell you, I gasped. I was like, this is not the context he says it in. You're lying. He's talking about body temperature.
Yeah. Okay, the stupid part is the whole reason that Jacob is there, supposedly, is because he has a connection to the pack, so he can read their minds and they can go back and forth. But who also can read minds here? So all the pack members have to do is just send a thought out to Edward to let him know what's going on. There's really no point for Jacob being here. I think
Edward has to be close. Like, he has to be necessarily pretty close to them, whereas Jacob is connected to their thoughts apparently from very far away.
Okay,
you guys, I cannot believe this was written and shot and acted and they edited it and still put it in the final cut. Like, I was watching this and I was like, you're lying, this is not real.
What is this, Siberia? Like, come on, this is ridiculous. It's
like, guys,
Washington.
This feels like an SNL skit, like of them making fun of Twilight. Like, Edward is looking at Bella and he looks like he's in pain because she's shivering so much. Also, there's like 7 billion feet of snow and they've been there for like 4 hours. Like, it makes no sense.
She's like fully clothed inside of a tent, inside of a sleeping bag.
Maybe she should be plenty of warm, just so that he could like snuggle with her. But it also just was like, in my head, this was one of those moments where in my head I was like, oh, since he's like physically like warmer, he's like, watch, he's gonna go like and snuggle with her. Like, I said that in my head, and then as soon as it started happening, I literally gasped. I was like, you're lying. I was like, you're literally and Edward just watches it.
And he can like, hear his thoughts. Yes. It's so gross, you guys. It's so gross.
I love it though, because he's like, could you try to contain your thoughts?
And he just like she snuggles up next to him, falls asleep. Oh my god, it's so embarrassing.
No, she pretends to fall asleep. The script says she's fake pretending the
Like,
entire
really?
time, listening to
It
their
was an
conversation.
obvious
You
in the
can
movie.
tell. Like I feel like I got that vibe. That's even
Really?
why they had that conversation, is because Bella can hear it.
Guys,
Gosh.
and they're all just trying to like have this toxic masculinity argument over Bella, and I was like, I hate this, but also this is so funny.
I wouldn't even say that it's a toxic masculinity thing for Edward, because Edward's is very sweet. Like, what he says, he's just like,
True.
He said, I want her to live. He said, I want her. He said, I tried to leave. And he even ends it with being like, I'm not going to make any decisions for Bella anymore.
Yeah,
like,
I forgot he said that. Never mind. Maybe it's more on Jacob's end.
Yeah.
Just so sick of constantly having to hear about what Bella wants from guys. I'm also sick about hearing guys talking about what Bella wants and making decisions for her. She's made her choice.
And she made a wrong one after this, but at least it was her own.
But I would still argue that that's Jacob who's pushing that. Like, Edward, pretty much most of this movie has been very hands off and has been very like, it's her choice.
And I think that was an intentional choice, because the show really wanted to make Jacob super attractive to Bella and have Edward be more passive, to show that Bella's choice was really like serious. She wasn't making this choice because, oh, Edward seems like the superior, choice in this one. Yeah.
Which I'm glad that they did it that way, because I feel like if Edward had been as pushy as Jacob, everyone would have been like, he robbed her of her humanity.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. From here on out, Edward is oddly mature. Like him saying, hey, like, I think I would actually like you if we were not mortal enemies and you weren't trying to steal my reason for existing. And Jacob has to be a punk.
There is the next scene where, okay. Is this the best choice that Edward ever made? Maybe not. Did he kind of have some validity in wanting Bella to own the fact that they were engaged and about to be married and have Jacob here? Kind of like, I don't know. I don't fault him a ton for this.
No, I don't fault him, but I also think, Edward, you're too good for Bella at this point. Like, I think that if you're having to trap your fiance and manipulate her in getting her to admit that you're engaged in front of somebody else without her knowing, the relationship is far gone.
Well, and I think it's even crazier that she chases after him as if she's just gotten caught cheating. Like, he just found out you're engaged. Why are you running after him? Like, let him figure it out. And then it's like, all of a sudden he's like, I'm going to go. And I know it's trying to frame it as like, oh, they kiss because she's trying to let him not go out. And she's trying to distract him.
She doesn't want him to get hurt.
But it's like, bruh, there's so many things she could have said or done, but she went straight to kissing him. She's like, Jacob.
And it wasn't like a oh, let me kiss you to distract you. It was like a good 2-minute long, went back in for a seconds and thirds kiss.
And he just went through one of the worst nights ever. Like, dude, and had this whole speech for her. And then she comes back and he's so patient with her and so kind. And he's like, I could read his thoughts the whole time. That is mortifying. Could you imagine being able to read the thoughts of the person kissing your fiance?
Yeah, no.
That is mortifying.
Yeah. So there was a scene in the script, and also it was filmed, but it was never put into the movies. And I've heard a lot of people reference this over the years, where when they kiss, there was supposed to be kind of like a fantasy of Bella's of what her life would be like with Jacob if she chose this path, which I personally think would have made this kiss make more sense. So it was supposed to be Bella and Jacob arm in arm sitting on the stoop in the bright sunlight. The sunlight's important. Then they're in their 20s. They have an infant. You see her mom appear and her dad playing with this child that they have in their 30s. Like, Jacob's playing with the kid. Bella's helping, Charlie help the the toddler walk. And then they're in their 40s. They see the two grown kids pile out of Jacob's car home for the holidays. Gray-haired Charlie and Billy are there with Bella to welcome them. And then in their 60s, Bella and Jacob, who are graying now, playing with their own grandchildren, contented a family. Like, it makes it more clear that Bella is wrestling with all of this and all the things that she's going to lose. And Jacob, it becomes more of a representation of that path. It gives Bella more layers instead of just making her look wishy-washy.
I agree.
It's stupid that Edward makes this all his fault. It's my fault. When I went away, I left you bleeding and he stitched you up. I can't blame you for something I made necessary. I'm like, oh my gosh, Edward.
It's like, Edward, whoa. You're getting a little too good for these people. Like, maybe bring the maturity down a few notches.
Right.
I love the fighting. I eat up the fighting.
Yeah.
It's just cool. Like, I feel like we're starting to actually, like, these are the parts of the movies where I'm like, oh yeah, this is what we want. We want to see werewolves and vampires fighting and engaging. And I like that each movie is getting progressively like more about that. Cause that's what we want. Like, we're learning all this lore and everything for a reason. Like, not just to sit around and talk. So then we have the scene where Victoria and Riley finally come find Edward and Bella. Edward does a pretty good job of fighting them off for a little bit, but then ultimately gets overpowered. Bella cuts her wrist and distracts them. And then as they're chasing after her, then Jacob comes, right? I think it's Jacob, or it's a different wolf. I couldn't really tell.
I think it's Seth.
Seth comes, ends up taking Riley. Shocker. We find out that, she doesn't really love him. And Edward finally kills Victoria.
Sad.
Yeah.
Sad. Bum, bum, bum.
I love how they don't have blood whenever they rip off their heads. Because like the rating would go up higher. But also it works with the lore though, because if they have to keep drinking blood, we assume that they have no blood.
Yeah, honestly,
it makes sense.
It's more tight than Buffy's lore because their whole blood situation and air and all that is very confusing.
I was telling Catherine that too. I was like, you know what? Out of all the complaints I could make about these movies, like one of them is not the lore. The lore is really rich. I will say I don't have to like some of the decisions of the lore, but they keep it consistent.
So the whole scene with this was that a newborn was coming and then Leah attacked them, but Leah was like alone.
From what I gathered, that she wasn't going to be strong enough.
So they were worried, which she wouldn't have been because she's also newer to the pack. And then Jacob came in to help her and ultimately got freaking wrecked.
Yeah, so they have to go like set his bones because he heals so fast. They don't want to have to re-break everything.
Yep. And then the Colons have to prepare for the Volturi to come.
Oh yeah, that.
Yes.
Layat. Dakota Fanning. MVP.
Oh, I love her.
Slay.
She's so good. Oh
and
my gosh.
I want more of them. I want more of the Valturi or whatever.
Volturi. But I love this scene because there's such a dynamic where it's like the Colons, you can tell, are starting to challenge the Volturi a little bit. Whereas before they were so fearful that they were just kind of like, okay, say whatever. And they're starting to challenge them. And they have that whole back and forth of fighting over the girl. And they really try to be like, no, we'll take credit for her. And they have that line where they say the Volturi don't give a second chance. Which is
very pointed. Like, you need to change Bella or else.
Yes. It's definitely a double meaning there. And, it's obviously giving us a little bit of clue of like, okay, this is not the last we'll see of the Volturi. You'll get your wish, Tabby.
Yay. I knew that they were more in the last two, but I'm starved for their storylines.
And then we have, I don't know, the same with Bella and Jacob. He's healing. I didn't really care for it. I just kind of was like, okay. And she's like, Jacob, I love you. And you're like,
I felt bad
girl?
for Jacob here because as much as he made a bunch of crappy decisions and he was a little punk and stuff, Bella really was leading him on.
Yes,
and
I agree.
It just sucks.
Yes. Well, and it was such a quick turnaround because she like kissed him and they had this moment and then he like sacrifices himself on the battlefield and then she's like, I love
Actually,
you,
no.
but I actually choose Jacob. I choose Edward. And, but it is sweet where he has that moment where he's like, my heart will always beat, or like, I will always love you. And she says, as long as my heart beats. And he says, maybe even after. So it was like that thing of like, giving her a little bit of hope of like, I'll still care for you even if you become a vampire, which is not not what their relationship looked like before. And then we have the scene where they're talking. There's just no repercussions for Bella. I think that's the thing is it's like she literally cheated on Edward and led on Jacob, and they both forgive her.
And he never talks to her about it. I'm like you're right, Leah. He has no consequences. So she could just do all this tomfoolery, and then he'll be like, I still love you. Both the men will be like, even if you're my sworn enemy, I'll still love you.
Yep. Well, and I mean, they're even talking about just like the fact that they're planning their wedding. They're talking like they've set a date for everything. And it's like, you almost forget the fact that like Bella cheated on him in like 3 scenes ago, but they're planning their wedding. So it's all going to work out for them.
Yeah. At the end of the day, it's like, even if they're trying to use Jacob as a metaphor for her real life, and Edward kind of on an intrinsic level is supposed to understand that it's not really about him, it's about her kind of deciding if she wants that real life, that doesn't work on a story level, and we need to have these conversations between these characters,
Agreed. Any last final comments about the movie?
I mean, I don't know. I appreciate the first one for what it was, but as time is going on, I just feel like I'm like, I get it already, but I feel like you're shooting yourself in the foot with what you're trying to do by dragging this on.
I think Sarah's in hyper analytic mode, and you can't sit down and like have that lens when you watch these movies. Like you have to be able to enjoy the mess.
It's like watching reality TV where you're like, I just can't look away. Like,
that's what it's supposed to be. Like. It's so ridiculous, and you're entertained by how stupid and ridiculous it is. And then there are moments here and there that you like. There are characters that you like, and the fight scenes are cool, and the backstories and things like that.
Yeah, there's moments that I can't, and I can deal with that for like one movie. And if I'm like in the mood to just watch something, like if I'm going to watch reality TV, I'll watch one episode of Keeping Up with the Kardashians and I'm like, cool, I'm done. But to have to keep like watching it after a while, I just crave something more substantial. I just prefer my entertainment with a little bit more substance. That's all.
You have to switch it up every now and then.
Yeah.
I'm trying so hard, you guys.
We're very proud of you.
Well, we hope that you guys are enjoying this so that it's worth putting Sarah through all of this.
I know, poor Sarah's traumatized.
I've definitely been enjoying breaking down these movies. I love them, and I love having people to watch them with. It always adds to the enjoyment to have people shock. Nothing was more satisfying to me today than getting Tabby's text live and her being like, Leah, what the frick? They're sleeping together. This makes no sense. And her being like, they kissed? Jacob and her kissed? And that is healing my soul. And each movie, there's something that happens that you're like, who wrote this? Who wrote this? And it just makes it worth it.
What Sarah and Leah are giving in this podcast of analyzing these movies is like the daughter of like a mom who's really trying to understand the interests of like the young daughter, but does not get it at all, but is like trying. And Leah's like, but you just don't get it. Like, it's just this.
I know, which is hilarious because like this is my generation. Like Twilight was like my generation's thing. I just don't get it. Yeah. No, I mean I do get it on a certain level. It's just not for me.
You're not the target audience for sure.
Well, I hope you guys have enjoyed this. I hope you're looking forward to the next movie. We're almost done, Sarah. We only have 2 more left.
Oh my gosh, did not know there were 5, guys. I like coming into this, I thought there was maybe 3, tops 4, but like
no, how lucky.
How
lucky for us.
And these are each a year each. That's crazy. They whipped these out.
They did. Well, I mean, it was so popular that they realized like we have to take care of this niche right now. Otherwise, it's not gonna take off. And I mean, they were right.
True.
If they had taken forever to release them, people would not have cared that much.
True. I just request being allowed to pick the next bonus episode, and I already know which one I'm gonna pick too. So
which one?
Have you guys seen What We Do in the Shadows, the movie?
Mm-mm.
I don't even know what that is.
Then we're gonna watch that one. No. It's a vampire comedy.
Oh, shoot. Okay, yeah, I'm
it's
down.
It's very dry. It's British, so it's very dry humor.
Is it a TV show?
There's now a TV show, but I'm going to watch the original movie.
I saw commercials for the TV show on what is it? Hulu or
TikTok?
Something?
Yeah.
What we have to do after is watch the Buffy movie at some point.
Yes. Yeah. We've got a whole bunch that we want to do.
We're just going to watch all vampire-related movies. All right, guys. Well, we will see you next time on whether it is a special bonus episode, a Twilight episode, a spoiler section, or just a regular episode. We will see you next time.